Are you a feminist?
Yeah, not one that many own, but yes.
So,
This is the problem. He's gone into this conversation under a false assumption, okay? She's not a daughter of God, not at all.
Wait, what?
If Erudite knew anything about the Bible, she'd know that Jesse is directly referencing something written by the Apostle Paul when she talks about Christianity. It's like Christian-flavored, I believe in a higher power type of spirituality.
That's how you know I'm so cool, right?
That's not what he means, Erudite. He's a racist. Erudite goes ahead and joins Jesse Lee Peterson for a conversation on his podcast and starts debating about religion. Yes.
Or people with young children versus women.
no, it's a woman's thing. Men love loud cars.
Why did God give us the right to choose?
Yes. Let's go! Let's go! Bible tent! Bible tent! Racist, well, self-hating, racist black man. Preacher from the deep south who thinks that black people live better in the era of Jim Crow laws versus self-hating, misogynistic woman who is also a Christian. Let's go! Let's go! Oh, Jesse, I hate being a woman. Oh, Jesse, I really can't stand being a woman. I know. Nah, man. Even what being black, man. Even what being black, man. These black girls running around here because no got the rockets, man. Okay, what am I doing? Let's get into it.
Salvation a choice.
God didn't give you the right to choose.
He did. He put the tree of evil. He made choice right from Adam and Eve.
Right.
Yeah, but that's not a choice, you dipshit. That is not a choice, you dude. Oh my God, bro. Ugh. That's not a choice. Yes, God is giving you the choice between, like, righteousness and, like, sin. So you're admitting that what you're doing is sinful. You are eating from the poison tree. Or the tree of knowledge of good and bad.
But that was only because he wanted man to know that he's not going to force you to love him. You have to love him or not love him.
Dude, it's so there's like an argument. I mean, just to underscore it, like, God also gives you the choice to, right? God gives you the choice to, like, and pillage. God technically gives you the choice to, like, a baby. He gives you that choice. That's true. We are in a fallen state, as Jesse likes to say. That's not an argument for your behavior. Huh? That all you're saying there is like, God gave me free will. God gave me free will in order to commit evil. Dude. Women is watching you talk about the jury block right now. Is he? Dude.
But what does that have to do with women voting?
Well, if God views choice as more important than sin, right? Because if he hadn't put the tree of good and evil in the garden, that we wouldn't have ever had a choice to do sin. And so if God valued our ability to choose, even though he knew we would choose wrong, who are we in the American project to say, okay, well, we know better, and actually we're going to take away people's right to choose, because...
Dude. God likes choice more than sin. What are you talking about, dude? I'm pretty sure that God, paramount, dislikes sin more than probably anything. But it's only fair to give you the choice to choose. What?
We're actually better than God in this way.
If you want to, like, technically argue that on God's, like, tier of, like, hierarchy of needs and wants, that technically he values giving you the free choice even more than he cares about sin. Like, technically that's true. What a thing to say, though. Like, sin is only possible with free will, right? Sin is only possible if you have the choice to choose between righteousness and sin.
It seems it's...
Erudite, I don't know why she talks about Christianity so much. She's clearly not, like, a real Christian. I don't know. She just dresses up her beliefs sometimes in Christianity.
Seems very directional with salvation. That agency agency is like the most important thing, because if you don't have choice, then it means that you are simply a slave to doing good things by necessity. And that isn't a good world at all. The person who can look at evil and look at good and choose good anyways, that's noble. And we need to make, like, God makes a space for us to do that, despite the fact that even with God, we choose wrong every single day.
But God only gave us one choice, and that choice is to come out of hell if we want. You can live in your misery all of your life, or you can realize, you know what, I'm tired of living in hell. And emotional people are living in hell, right? And so you decide, you know what, God, I'm tired of living this way. Help me out of it. That's the only choice you have. Or he'll just leave you in your hell. You have no other choice.
Well, I feel like even once you choose God, like Christians still do sin, right?
But they don't choose God. But what does that have to do with women voting, though? That doesn't make sense.
Well, it's about choice, right? The reason why I think women voting is good is because it's giving them more choice.
But women don't make choices. They don't know how to make the right choice because they're so emotional.
So women can't sin?
They're so Women are so emotional and illogical, they can't make the right choice. Have you noticed that?
But I guess I'm asking, like, if women can't choose, then they can't sin. They're just kind of like
I don't know
robots.
what that had to do with that.
Jesse is saying that women are too to make the correct decisions. Jesse's not talking about sin. Jesse is talking about practical reality. Women can't choose what is best for even themselves. But women can't sin? Are you saying that women can't sin? What a engagement. She knows who JLP is. She hasn't been blindsided by this question. She knows who he is. She knows what he believes, and this is all she can retort with. Oh my god.
Well, sin is about choice, right? Like if I steal cookies and my parents go, Kyla, did you steal cookies? And I go, no. I've made a choice to lie to my parents in that moment, right?
No.
Yes.
No?
Huh?
The only choice that a human being has is to whether they want to come out of their misery. If you realize, you know what, I don't like living this way, I'm unhappy, I'm miserable, or have fear and all that, I want out. That's the only choice you make. You never make a choice in your whole life after that. And you're not making a choice before that.
So is God making you sin when you are a Christian who acts in sin? Christians sin, right?
What does that have to do with women voting? I'm trying to understand that.
It
Choice,
doesn't have anything
right?
to
Like
do with it.
God, you said God only allows you to have one choice. And it's like, well, no, God, even when you choose him, he actually asks you to choose him every single day, bear your cross every day, right? And so God allows us to choose constantly. He's constantly allowing us the space to choose to sin or not to sin, even as Christians, every single day. That's why we need him every day. We don't need God once in our life. We need God.
Yeah, what did God inspire the Apostle Paul to write to the Corinthians, though, okay? Bible 10, woo, 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 scriptural reference time, okay. Women! Yes, you, should remain silent in the churches. They are not allowed to speak, but must be in submission, as the law says. If they want to inquire about something, they should ask their husbands at home, for it is disgraceful for women to speak in church. Or did the word of God originate with you? Or are you the only people it has reached? If anyone thinks they are a prophet or otherwise gifted by the Spirit, let them acknowledge what I am writing to you is the Lord's command. But if anyone ignores it, they themselves will be ignored. Ooh! Ooh! Ow!
Every single day because we have the choice to do noble or ignoble.
Yeah, you can say that, like, you have the choice to do noble or ignoble in the way that, like, you have the ability to choose. Yeah. How is this an argument for women being able to, like, vote? The Bible says nothing about universal suffrage. Nothing at all. And in fact, doesn't seem to regard women's opinions that highly. Oh.
And if God values choice to that,
like consistently, again and again and again and again and again. The Apostle Paul writes about women being in submission to their husbands, right? Because they say that Eve was tempted by the serpent in Eden, but Adam was not, right? Eve is to blame for the fall of humanity. Adam was tricked, but Eve was tricked, but Adam was not, right? That's the whole point. again and again and again. I don't know how you're appealing to Christian virtues to argue for universal suffrage, including women, with the ability to vote. Does the Bible say anything about voting at all? Okay, Hengist, I'm glad you teed me up for this. This may blow your mind, okay? Democracy was not really a thing when the Bible was written. Okay? That might be bizarre. You might not... Huh? No! It didn't exist, dude! It doesn't mention voting a single time.
Level, we probably should too.
So I guess you're not going to answer the question.
This is so as well. If you want to extend rights to people because they should be able to make a choice, then why have laws at all? Why have laws at all? Why not extend infinite liberty to everyone? Huh?
About what is that?
Athenian democracy. Okay. I apologize. When I said not really, okay? When I said not really, I meant in a way we would understand it today. Okay? There we go.
Since women are so illogical, emotionally and mentally, they can't make the right decision. Why would they be given the right to vote?
I'm talking about universal suffrage. People did not have universal suffrage, okay?
When they don't know what they want.
I guess I'm saying to you, I think women can make choices. I think women can sin. I think women make choices all the time. You might not agree with the choices that they make, but for us to call their actions wrong, we either have to say, well, they're just meat robots that can't help but doing evil things, or we have to say women are choosing bad things. But if they're meat...
Dude, I love JLP so much. He's like so... But he'll just like, every now and again, actually, yeah.
But for us to call their actions wrong, we either have to say, well, they're just meat robots that can't help but doing evil things, or we have to say...
Dude, JLP, I don't know if he's a character. I don't know if he's a troll. It's like nobody will ever be able to tell. And it's probably a little bit of both. It's just, dude, his comedic timing is perfect.
Women are choosing bad things. But if they're meat robots, then they're more like children. We don't get like mad at children for like doing the wrong thing when they don't know better. We like teach them better. But I don't view women that way. I think women are adults that can make choices. They can make bad choices and good choices. I just believe in a system where we allow them to make those choices, including allowing them to make bad choices. Because I think that's what's modeled for us in our faith.
Do you?
Okay, and that's where you're wrong. No, wait, sorry, that's where we're gonna go back to the beginning, okay? We're gonna go right back to the beginning. I didn't realize that this would be such gold, okay? I thought this would maybe be like a 20-minute segment. I didn't realize the entire thing would be about religion. Let's go!
When times get tough, you need to get round. No need to look backward, put your feet on the ground. Stand up,
King.
stand up.
He's so charismatic,
Welcome to the
dude.
Fallen State. I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. Thank you all for being with me. You can become a member of the Fallen State. You can support us by becoming a member on the fallenstate.tv right there on the YouTube channel or locals.com, and check out our merch. Punchy's Coffee, good. Get Punchy's Coffee at jesseleepeterson.shop. I have with me Kyla Turner. She is
Correct.
a political commentator and social media influencer. Her channel is called what's that?
Erudite.
What?
Erudite.
NotSoErudite. What does that mean?
Means scholarly or learned.
Really?
Holy shit, dude. Dude. Was it something I said? Dude? Since we started doing this segment, dude, the viewership has fallen off a cliff. Dude. Like half of the people who are watching have just like gone. The damage is done. The damage is done. Bible tense not for everyone, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Such
are
a
you-
joke.
Listen, I know that not everyone wants it. I know that when I do Bible tent, okay, not everyone enjoys it. Not everyone's here for it. But for the people who stick around, for the people who do enjoy it, okay, it's for me and you, okay? It's for me and you, dude.
Are you a
not so.
scholar? You're a person?
Well, I'm not so erudite, so
Oh, you're
kind of a
not.
tongue in cheek.
Welcome to the show.
I like science. Thank you for having me.
What's important to you?
That's a good question. My husband, my faith, and trying to conduct myself well.
All right,
Probably
on.
like the top three. Yeah.
And when you say my husband, do you obey your husband?
Yeah, sure.
You obey him?
Yeah, a lot of the time.
Nice. And so are you a Christian?
I am.
And why are you a Christian?
I always say he keeps giving me a reason to believe. It's more like, how could I not be? Is kind of more my statement.
Right on.
Really? What, Erudite is saying, how could she not be? What? Isn't it like a constant thing to, like, wrestle with your faith? No? Like, a constant thing. God keeps on giving her reasons to believe, okay?
You,
That makes me instantly suspicious. That makes me instantly suspicious of whether Kyla Maxwell is in fact a Christian or not. That seems totally bizarre.
do you believe that human beings are in a fallen state?
Like theologically?
Yeah.
Yeah, like we're in sin. Sure.
Yeah. Amazing, huh? Can you,
I mean, not amazing, kind of not good.
can you overcome that?
Yeah.
You
Well, sort of.
She's not that kind of Christian? What, you mean like a believing Christian? Or like a thinking Christian? Yeah, kind of.
Not on your own.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know that, why not on your own you can overcome it? You can't
Well,
overcome it.
if we're being theological, right? As a Christian, all fall short of the glory of God. That's kind of like the premise is like we all sin. We're all in sin. We all need Jesus. That's the reason why we're not supposed to judge each other is because
Yeah.
we all got planks. I think if
Isn't she from like a deranged evangelical family? Or like Mormon fundies or something? I don't believe so. She's never said that. And she doesn't seem to have like the knowledge of the Bible to actually like make me think that. Yeah. Whenever Erudite talks about Christianity, she talks in like vague, abstract ideas about theology. She never really quotes the Bible. She never talks about scripture, so I don't think so.
if you don't believe in God, I think that gets more complicated, which I'm empathetic to. But if we're talking just about Christians,
She is Mormon or was? No way. Is that real? She used to be Mormon. Uh-huh. Okay.
sorry, you're not Jesus, and none of us are. That's kind of the point.
Yeah. The one thing that we're not supposed to do, or number two primary things we should do, love God with all our heart, soul, and might, along with nothing else and no one else, and to love our neighbor, to love one another. And those are the two things that people don't do. They don't love God, a lot of Christians, and they judge one another. They don't love the neighbor.
True.
Have you noticed that?
I feel like, especially, it feels like increasingly there's a lot of hatred.
Yeah.
Yeah, in America.
And
which
why
sad.
is that? It is. It's out of control right now.
Yeah. Multiple factors. It depends on which lens you want to talk about why there's so much hatred. We could talk about social media and its impacts on radicalization and the way we view each other. We could talk about wealth disparity. We could talk about theology. I think the reasons why we all hate each other is probably complicated. And I think the worst part about hatred is we all feel justified in it. We're like, yeah, hatred's bad, but like mine's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem with it, right?
Absolutely. That's amazing, huh?
Amazing.
The Simp Man wants to challenge you to YouTube boxing. Really? Dude, where has he said this? He said this in Nick's Discord or whatever. Has he? I will take him up if he comes to the UK. Wait, actually, Simp Man sounds incredibly old. I will take him up.
And so, do you have anger?
Sometimes.
And is it possible to be a child of God, a daughter of God, or a son, and have anger.
I mean, Jesus had anger. So yeah, if we're taking his model, you can have anger. There's sinful anger and there's righteous anger.
I'm pretty sure that I would actually destroy the simp man if we were to get into like the ring together. I'm pretty sure if the simp man and I were to get in the ring together, he would probably die. I mean, there's no funny quip about it. Realistically, yeah, it would be the last day on his last day on earth.
Right? Jesus took a temple, a whip of cords to the temple. He's very angry, violent even. So there's a space for righteous anger. But there's also a lot of anger that I think happens that, of course, I'm guilty of too and whatnot. That's not righteous. It's petty. It's vengeful.
And so, what's the difference between righteous anger and non-righteous anger?
That's tough. I think there's a lot of prayer that has to go into that. I think, for example, when people violate justice.
Righteous anger is directed towards injustice or things that would be out of accordance with God's will. I mean, it's a pretty easy question.
I think a lot of righteous anger can emerge. And I think the problem is that what often happens is when righteous anger, you know about the Ukrainian girl, I imagine.
Yeah, horrible story.
Yeah. Sorry?
That's an evil story. What happened to her was evil.
Yeah, it's tragic. And there's a lot of people righteously angry about that.
Yeah.
But the problem is that I think the news tries to take your kind of righteous anger, so to speak, and weaponize it for whatever agenda that they might have. And I think when it gets weaponized towards something that is no longer righteous or justice or towards what like is moral, that's I think where we start slipping into unrighteous anger.
Yeah.
Are you saying that a Christianity is an act? I think so, basically, yeah. She talks about it an awful lot, but it seems as though she doesn't really know much about Christianity when she starts talking about it. She's like a liberal Christian who doesn't really rely much on scripture or anything like that. She's basically, okay, the way you should take Erudite when she talks about Christianity, it's like Christian-flavored or vaguely, like, Christian-centered, I believe in a higher power type of spirituality, okay? That's all that it is. That's all that it is.
Speaking of the story with the young girl from Ukraine.
Wait, W. Angus, top guy of the stream, by the way. I found a comment from this time last year where she was talking about her faith. Where they prank each other. Myron is 99% wrong on shit. This one's kind of true, though. This isn't true. I grew up in a fundy Christian church and saw women doing little pranks on each other. Men, etc. Because it's a pretty normal human thing to do, Lamau. Boys will be boys, women will never have friendship like this. Myron's right. He wishes, right? Myron's right. Women will never have this kind of joy in their lives. Women will never do pranks like this. Okay, she claims to be raised a fundamental Christian. She calls herself a radical Orthodox Protestant. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? I mean, she does claim that in her bio. She also claims that her views are her own, which, is not true. Is not true at all. Her views smell too much. Well, first of all, she doesn't get any views, but in terms of the views she has, it's literally just like espousing Destiny's stuff, right? She doesn't believe what she says at all. Or even when she and Destiny disagrees, like it had recently, right? I put out a video saying that anybody who mocked or refused to condemn the of Charlie Kirk was not on her side, was not on her left, and she thought they should be kicked out of the party and any lefty kind of like vaguely liberal Democrat alliance, right, that exists. And then she continues to work for Destiny. Oh my god. Hasn't even commented on it, by the way.
Hey, what's wrong with the blacks?
I don't know.
Where do I begin?
Do you know the story of Stan Lee in Canada?
Not that I'm aware of right now. What is it?
So there was
What,
a
Stanley?
man in Canada, this Asian man, who we had a psychotic episode, and he beheaded and cannibalized another person in a Greyhound bus. This was, I think, 8 to 10 years ago now. So I don't know if this is racial necessarily, this specific situation. But there is an issue that we have to talk about, which is how we handle like mental health and crime.
And so, but in America, what's wrong with the blacks?
You tell me.
No, you're the expert. I'm asking you.
I've never espoused to be the expert on black people. Definitely not my expertise.
Have you noticed? Not all, but most blacks are very angry and violent today.
I don't know if I found that they're all angry and violent. I think that there is higher rates of it within that
Babka, stand off in chat. I want to know your opinion.
population.
And
But
Listen, this isn't Bible 10, okay? This isn't Christian 10. I don't know anything about this. Yeah? What's my opinion? It's not my expertise, okay? I can't claim to have any knowledge on
why
that.
is that?
I think it's complicated, right? I think some of it is born in righteous anger, and some of it's been what we talked about, weaponized for unrighteous causes.
As a white lady, do you feel concerned because right now there's a genocide on white people, white women being knocked out and robbed on the streets, and no one cares about the white people. Does it concern you that there's a genocide on white people today?
I don't know if I would agree with that, Framing. I've not heard about the genocide on white people, I'm afraid.
You don't know about the knockouts and the rapists of white women and knocking out white men and all that?
No, I haven't.
You're not aware that that's going on?
I don't know if I've heard of it being called a white genocide. I don't know if I have seen any evidence of like specifically white targeting. I think most violence, for example, if you're blaming like black people, I think most violence to black people is also done by black people.
Well, that's happening.
Dude, Janky Johnny in chat freaking the out. Damn, he hates black people. Who says that? That's so hates. You've never watched JLP before? You've never heard of Jesse Lee Peterson? Dude, you're in for a treat.
Too, but most violent.
He asks these questions to every single interviewer, by the way. Every single person that he interviews, these are the exact same question that he asks them every time. And somehow Erudite just still hasn't thought of a rebuttal to them, hasn't thought of a response.
Violent done by whites. Two whites are done by blacks.
I don't know if that's true, if I'm being honest. I haven't prepped the stats on that, but I'd have to see if that's
We need to
true.
go back to normal speed for this. We need to savor this content.
I read that you are liberal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Yes, I'm liberal.
And how can you, what does it mean to be a liberal? What does that mean?
Dude, he's such a Giga Chad. He's such a Giga Chad, man. Are you a liberal? Yeah. Excuse me? Excuse me? We're going to have a yes, and it's going to be a sir on the end next time you try and respond. Okay? No yeah with me.
To you.
Dude.
So I believe in a couple of things: strong institutions, a social safety net, and some level of valuing for kind of like social unity under core principles.
And how is it possible to be a Christian and a liberal?
Ooh.
Very possible. I don't think your faith should be underneath your politics. I think if you think that these two things must be kind of hierarchically organized, that's probably an issue.
But liberals are like, they tend to be, they believe in socialism. They
do.
I don't.
believe in free stuff, you know.
I don't know if Jesus was opposed to free stuff. I'm not a socialist. Not all liberals are the same, right? Like there's a lot of camps in the liberal space.
Oh, I see. And what
Yeah.
type of liberal are you?
I'm not the socialist type, that's for sure. I'm like a standard democracy, capitalist, lib. Yeah,
So
the leftists would say a liberal, a lib.
So you wouldn't fit, are you a feminist?
Yeah, not one that many own, but yes.
So are you a liberal feminist?
This feminist is only owned by one man, thank you very much, and it's not her husband. Actually, speaking about her husband, I saw a comment. I saw something that somebody said about this, that Nick actually left a response. Nick left a comment on this video. Here we are. Here we are. This is her husband, by the way, pretending to be like an ordinary chatter. Great interview. NotSoErudite is very reasonable. His wife, by the way. Glad Jesse is still around. Bro. Wait. Sick Unchained replied. Sick Unchained replied. W sick. By the way, this is NSE's 1/4 Nigerian husband. White. What is sick doing?
Just
Am I a liberal feminist? Probably not. Because that's like do you know much about like the feminist civil war that's going on right now?
not a lot, but kind of. They hate men and they want to take over.
I do. I think they all
True.
agree at least that we don't like Peterson. But yeah, there's a lot of factions. Some of them have a whole island. Like Britain is like the feminist space that doesn't like trans people. Yeah, there's a lot of infighting amongst feminists. So liberal feminist is like a specific label. I'm not a liberal feminist in like the feminist philosophical framework.
Are you a millennial or a Z?
No, that's not true either. That's not true. Lazy generalization. Not all liberals, not all feminists in Britain hate trans people. Just like, you know, the loudest ones. Just the loudest, most popular feminist voices in Britain. It's tough, okay? It's really tough.
I'm like the tail end of a millennial. I'm 31.
Oh, okay. And so, how does your parents feel about you being a Christian and a liberal?
They're okay with it.
Yeah.
They're
Jen, okay, listen. I've got a lot of people. This is their first introduction. I'm glad that I could be the one to introduce you to JLP for the first time. Your brain will hurt, okay? Your brain will hurt if you actually try to engage in any way with JLP's questions, alright?
Okay, bro.
You've just
You're
gotta-
getting too big for your boots.
Ooh. Just
Can
strap
we get
yourself
a
in.
physiognomy check?
Let him take you where he
Emoji,
takes you,
nose
alright?
emoji.
they're conservative, but they I think in Canada especially, our politics are very our faith is first and our politics are second. So we disagree on certain things, especially like politically, but it doesn't change like the unifying front that we like believe in the same God and the same faith and that we worship the same God. So
Oh, I see. And they know that you're a feminist liberal?
they do, yeah.
And do they complain about that or they accept it?
No, it's more like teasing and jokes. In Canada, politics is very different in Canada than America. Politics is like, in America, it's like your tribe. Whereas politics in Canada, we have like 7 parties federally. So
Wow.
it's pretty normal to vote. Like municipally, you vote NDP, and provincially, you might vote conservative, and federally, you might vote like liberal. So we're just a lot less like diehard on our parties. And I think that really changes the way that we experience politics compared to like Americans, where
I don't know if that's even true, right? What is in America? It's like 2/3, 70% of people in the is it 2/3? I think it's like 2/3, around 66% of people in America are like Christian. Like of differing strengths, I guess. Just about a majority of people in 53.3% of people in Canada are Christian. And then 1/3 of people are like atheistic, or at the very least kind of agnostic. To say that you have like your religion as a separate part of politics is realistically countries that have their religion broadly separate to their political system, or broadly separate to their like political discussions, or just kind of like generally a-religious. They just don't really care about religion, right? Earlier, daily lives. Much as many Catholics in Quebec ignore the church's stance on birth control, abortion, or premarital sex, the church does not dictate the daily lives of regular Canadians. Though the majority of Canadians consider religion to be unimportant in their daily lives, they do still believe in God. The practice of religion is generally considered a private matter throughout society and the state. Actually, maybe that's gonna... okay. That might be a legitimately different point of view between Canada and then America. Especially given especially given the French influence. Oh, I've completely forgotten what they call it. I've completely forgotten what they've called it. The whole idea that you shouldn't really discuss religion in like day-to-day politics, or you really shouldn't discuss religion in like your day-to-day life. I think France holds this quite strongly. That's why you'll see like bonkers laws coming out of France, which is like otherwise a liberal democracy, right? Who cares about like progressive values and, you know, they've got this whole idea that you shouldn't really wear your religion on your sleeves, even if you personally are religious. Religious people will still argue for this. You should kind of keep your religion like kind of behind closed doors and shouldn't really talk about it. Is it called laicite? Is it called laicite? I'm Canadian. Nobody honestly gives a about your religion, and most people never bring it up, Lamar. Tell me, what is the nonsense gobbledygook French word for how they don't talk about God in public, ever?
Seems like politics is very identity tied for Americans.
And how did you get so involved in politics, and why?
That's a good question. I think I've just always been very interested in learning. I love philosophy, and
Yo, I actually remember the French word and everything. Laicite. Laicite. Is the constitutional principle of secularism in France. Okay, Article 1 of the French Constitution is commonly interpreted as the separation of civil societies and religious societies. It discourages religious involvement in government affairs, especially in determination of state policies, as well as recognition of state religion. It also forbids government involvement in religious affairs, and especially prohibits government influence in the realms, in the determination of religion, such that it includes the right for free expression of religion. Okay, nice.
Aristotle is my favorite philosopher, and so he has...
Erudite reads philosophy? Sorry, I got so caught up in like French bollocks.
And Aristotle is my favorite...
Lie, dude! Dude!
philosopher. And so he has this rule that politics is like one of the greatest forms of philosophizing. So I think I very naturally moved into politics because of my interest in philosophy. Yeah.
Would you ever run for office?
In America, I
Yeah.
can't. So
Oh, you
definitely
can
not.
in America, right?
Yeah.
Would you ever be interested in doing something like that? Even though
Probably
you can't do it in
not.
Canada, in America.
Probably not, no.
You have kids?
No.
Oh, okay. I noticed that ever since women have been allowed to vote, that everything just been screwed up and it's getting worse. Was it a mistake to allow women the rights to vote?
No, I think it's like the morally correct position. I think it...
Okay, we are gonna watch the beginning of this segment. Okay, up until the point where I realized that we're at the same point that we started watching before. I'll skip to the next chapter. All right.
is part of the American project. Agency is really, really important, both in our faith, choice is salvation, and in the American project. So, no.
Dude, it's so weird. It's so bizarre to have like Erudite remind you that I'm not American, I'm Canadian. I couldn't run for public office here. I can't vote here. By the way, you know, I think the American project, it was kind of essential to ignore the fact that they, you know, didn't give like universal suffrage. So ignore that didn't happen to like hundreds of years. You know, the American project, dude.
Giving women the choice is good.
You're not even a permanent resident here. You're not even a permanent resident in America. Go home. Go home. Dude. The Trump administration could do the funniest thing right now.
So was it a good thing or a bad thing to allow them to vote, though?
It's good. It's moral.
I'm sorry?
It's the good thing. It's the moral thing to do.
But why is it the moral thing? And when they were not, or a good thing, when they were not allowed to vote, America was amazing. But once they allowed them to vote, they want free health care. They want free babysitting services. They want us to pay for all that. They want to save the blacks, and they want daycare. They want us to pay for everything, and they always vote the wrong way because of
What do you
their
mean?
emotional and mental capability. They tend to be like unable to make the right decision because their psyche is not logical. And as a result, the country going to hell in a handbasket. Do you agree with that?
No. Do you think that America in 1880 is bigger, stronger, and more American than America in like the 1980s?
I think America was better before women had the right to vote than it is
So
today.
1880 America was better, even though Britain was a superpower.
It still was better than it is today. Because now that, if you notice, now that the women are allowed to vote, and there's, according to reports, more women than men, socialism is coming about, men jobs are being taken away from them, men children are being taken away from them because, of course, are on the side of the woman. And everything is insane because even cars are soft and they don't make noise anymore because the women complain about the noise.
It's
They
probably more old people, but my suspicion. It's usually old people that make noise complaints or people with young children versus women.
no, it's a woman's.
Dude, she's taking it seriously. She's taking it seriously. Dude, how the are the old people gonna hear shit, bro? How the are the old people? They can't hear shit, dude. They're gonna be ones complaining about noisy cars.
Say men love loud cars.
Yeah, we do.
Why did God give us the right to choose? Why does he make salvation a choice?
God didn't give you the right to choose.
He did. He put the tree of evil. He made choice right from Adam and Eve.
Right.
Oh, okay, Jesus Christ. So she obviously can't address the women made cars too noisy, men like cars go rum rum argument. Unfortunately, she sidelined that, starts talking about the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Nice. Let's go back. Let's go back to the next chapter that we skipped over.
For us in our faith.
Do you agree with me that the God above
That is actually a good point, Angus, dude. People with children make the noise complaints. Who gets the kids in the divorce? Who gets the kids in the divorce? Whose job is it to look at? Okay. FYI, before we get a huge dip in viewers again from the women who like happen to have like slinks in back, this is all a joke. I'm just snarking on women here. Just FYI. You've got to interpret me in the same way you do JLP when I'm watching JLP. I can't. I love him, dude. I can't help. I think he's such like a strong male figure. That I don't know if I can help but kind of like emulate the example that he sets out for me.
is the man's God, and the God below, Satan, is the woman's God.
No, I think God made all of us in his image.
The God above is the man's God, and the God below, Satan, is the woman's God.
True.
No, I think God made all of us in his image.
That's not what I asked her. I know he made all of us, but do you agree? Did the woman come from God or from the man?
She came from his rib, but I don't think Adam made her, right? Eve was made by God, and he put his breath into her.
But did she come from the man or did she come from God?
Genuinely, I think God created humanity. So
That's not what I'm
God.
asking though, but did the woman come from the man or from God?
She came from God.
No. Did the man come from...
If Erudite knew anything about the Bible, she'd know that Jesse is directly referencing something written by the Apostle Paul. Basically arguing that, like, women basically came from, like, Adam's rib, and so they're only worth, like, that much compared to an actual man, right? Women were essentially, like, constructed out of, like, a tiny little, like, insignificant little portion of a man, and so that's basically their worth compared to men. But she doesn't know, because she's never read the Bible, obviously.
God or the woman?
God.
I'm sorry?
Man comes from God too.
And the woman came from who? Whom?
God.
No.
She came from his rib.
But-
Adam didn't make Eve. Like, I don't think men are not God.
But did God take the woman out of the man and created her?
God did, yeah.
And so she's created his image.
In God's image, yeah.
No, the man's image.
Well, we have breasts. We have
The
we're
man is
literally not
created-
made in his
The
image.
man is created in God's image, and the woman is created in the man image. Am I right?
Well, I feel like men and women are really different, right?
They are. But
So if we were made in man's image, then he did a bad job of making us look like men. We're pretty different. I feel like we are made by God, and God made us
But you
different
may
to
feel
complement
that
one
way,
another.
but did the woman come from man or did she come from God?
God.
No.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't think that human beings, even man, is creating life in the way that God is. God breathed
God
life
gave the
into
life to
beings.
the woman. God took the woman from the man's body and created her, but he created the woman in the man's image and created God in his image.
Then why do they look so different?
They don't.
She's made man and
Woman's
woman look very
softer.
different.
If you look, women are created like men. They have breasts like a man. They just made to have babies, so they get milk, all the kind of things that men don't
Yeah,
get. But the
they're really
woman is
different.
created in the man's image, and he is created in God's image. So is Satan? Did you know that the woman God is the God from below, and the man's God is the God from above?
I don't think that that's a Christian belief. No,
And why not?
I would say that that's heretical.
It's taught
that's
in
not
the
true.
Bible why it's not a Christian belief.
Because women and man are both made by God. God calls both women and men to act in his image, and both of them can achieve salvation by faith in him. This is obvious by women being Deborah, women being used by God multiple times, Deborah the priestess. Like there's multiple
But
instances in which
Deborah
God is.
was led by men. She didn't make her own decision. That men instructed her on the decisions to make. But let me ask this about
That's not true.
about the
That's not true
woman
about
being about the woman God. Remember in the Bible, in the Word, where once upon a time
Dude, I love him so much. I love Jesse Lee Peterson, dude.
in the Bible, in the Word,
In the
where
word.
once upon a time Adam had a relationship with God, and then his wife Eve loved him, had a relationship with him, and all three were one because the woman believed in the husband who believed in the father. You know about that, right?
It sounds like when you read the Bible, God was engaging with both of them. When they were found in sin, both were ashamed of their nudity. It seems like God had a relationship with both of these individuals. I don't think God
Well, she
only engaged with Adam.
He did, but it was through the husband that he had the relationship with the wife. Because
I don't know.
the
I don't
husband-
think that there's biblical
the
evidence for
husband
that.
Adam and the father were one, and when they married, the
Dude, she can't even directly challenge him. Like, it doesn't say that in the text. What verse are you pulling that from? What text are you trying to pull that interpreter? I don't think that's included in the Bible. I don't think that's in the Bible, actually. Dude, stand on it. Argue with him.
woman became one with the husband, which was one with God. And then one day, the woman had to go shopping. And she went to the market and she ran up on Satan. And Satan had already tried to tempt Adam, and Adam said, no, get out of here, not going to listen to the lie.
I don't think there's any
And
biblical
so
evidence that
the
Adam had
woman-
been tempted first.
The woman went to the market and she met Satan there. And Satan was like, hey, Eve,
She
how
went to
you?
the market.
She's like, fine. And he asked her, you still with that man? And she like, yeah, I am. I love my husband. And he like, you could be your own woman. You don't have to listen to that man. She's like, no. Long story short, she went home, made dinner. They were having dinner. She and Adam. And she like, I saw Satan there at
It's
the
gonna
market.
tell about it. It's gonna
And
tell
Adam
about
like,
it.
stay away from him. He's trying to deceive you. Don't believe the lie. And she's like, okay. And then she went back a second time, another time. And she ran into Satan again.
Text.
And Satan said to her, Adam, you still with that woman? I mean, Eve, you still with that man? Like, yeah. Don't listen to him.
Is
He
this all in
listened
like the
to-
Mormon book?
He
I
like-
don't think I've read this in the
he
Bible,
like, don't
but maybe it's in
listen
the
to
Mormon
him.
She was not Mormon. She was not Mormon. Okay.
Bible.
He
I'm not
listened
sure.
to his father. He's not even his own man. You could be your own woman. You could take your bra off. You could do what you want. And she believed that lie. And the moment she believed,
That's true. That's true. Eve believed the lie that she can take her bra off. Dude.
Believe that lie. She no longer believed her husband. They became separated, and Satan became her god. And then Adam couldn't believe it. Like, what have you done, Satan? Eve, you listen to the devil. Now you can't believe the truth. You don't obey me anymore or anything. And then Eve became very puffed up because now she know about evil and good. So she finally convinced Adam, you don't have to listen to your father. You could be like me. You can know good and evil. You can judge. You can play God. And
She can't even respond. I thought she's had to go to a keyboard and start like typing to remember like, what the f is he talking about? Start reading Genesis online? Nope. Little sip.
you can know good and evil. You can judge. You can play God and everything. And Adam listened to the woman, and then the woman became his God because he could no longer believe the father. And father like, what have you done, Adam? He's like, well, you gave me that woman. I listened to that woman. And he said, well, because you listened to the woman, you're going to suffer. And so every time the man listens to his woman today, he suffers. And then the evil that come through to the children come through the woman because her nature, until she's truly born again of God, her nature is evil because she has no love, and it's passed on to the children generation after generation after generation. Have you noticed that as a Christian?
Maybe there's a new version of the Message that I haven't read, but I don't remember that
read
being
Genesis.
if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, I understand that. Read Genesis. It's in the fall of Adam and Eve.
I
And
don't
you will
remember
see
anything
why-
about dinner.
You will see
or-
where Satan is the woman's God and the God above. Well, until that man overcome the woman is his God. That's why men don't know what to do with women, because they got to overcome mama, forgive their mother so they can come back to the father. So that's why read that so you'll see, since you're a Christian, you will see why Satan is the woman's God and evil come through the woman.
Okay. Listen, I think somebody was in chat earlier, like asking me what my unironic take is on this in terms of like interpretation of the Bible. Jesse having the opinion that like evil comes through the woman, and that it's because that they're like born of a woman that makes them evil. It doesn't really hold up. It doesn't really hold up. Like a traditional view that's been had in Christianity, or I might be quoting Jewish sources here, but yeah, take it and leave it. Is that actually it's part of the desecration of a woman, her becoming like impure about like her having sex with a man. She loses her innocence, she loses her purity, right? It's actually the man that defiles the woman. And arguably, that's where the sin actually comes from, right? Because women are basically just like vessels for men's children. It's actually through the man that sin comes. That's where the idea has been in terms of like tradition anyway. But then, okay, the Apostle Paul gets on the scene, writes 1 Timothy. Unfortunately, I believe this is an authentic epistle. This is a real this is an authentic letter from Paul, okay? And then writes this. Dude. Blah 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 blah. Therefore, I want the men everywhere to pray. Lift up holy hands without anger or disputing. I also want the women to dress modestly, with decency and propriety, adorning themselves not with elaborate hairstyles, not with or gold, or pearls, or expensive clothes. Choker and a necklace, by the way. Choker and a necklace. Girl, come on now. But with good deeds appropriate for women who profess to worship God, as a woman should learn in quietness and in full submission. I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. She must be quiet. For Adam was formed first, then Eve. And Adam was not deceived. And Adam was not the one deceived. It was the woman who was deceived and became a sinner. But women will be saved through childbearing if they continue in faith, love, and holiness with propriety. There we are. FYI, so if you want to read like the legit like the text of the Bible, it's going to wholly depend on, I guess, how you consider the Apostle Paul. Arguably, objectively, the majority of the books in the New Testament are written by Paul. Right? Arguably, Paul is possibly more influential on Christianity than Jesus is, right? Jesus' words make up less of the New Testament than Paul's do, right? So arguably, he's more influential than Christ on what Christianity would eventually become. And yeah, he was the great evangelizer. He was like the most influential, he's the most influential person in the early church. You know, there we are. Wasn't Paul an incel? Or was that a different apostle? No. Paul was actually a volcel. Paul said that he had never laid with a woman, and he implored young men not to lay with women, and says that you should only marry if you cannot resist temptation. You should only marry to avoid falling into sin. He says, like, insane fucking shit about women. It was even shocking for that time, right? It's not even like what do you expect? He was in, like, the 1st century. No. Paul had extreme views about women even for that time. He was literally insanely misogynistic.
I think if any notable actual...
I mean, right, just FYI, the reason why Paul has to rail against women so much in his epistles, in his letters to these, like, congregations all over, is because in a lot of places, women were, like, held in relative esteem. It's because in a lot of places, women were the leaders in a lot of church groups, right? Especially given the fact that, like, there's evidence and some, like, textual shit that, like, women were the main kind of evangelizers in early Christianity. And because of their, like, standing in society, because of their, like, standing in, like, social circles especially, women were pretty well regarded in the church, such that, you know, there's plenty of women who were named right alongside their husbands, right? Like Aquila and Priscilla. They're just, like, named as a couple. It's not the husband is named and his wife, which, you know, was common in the Old Testament. No. At that point, it was like them as a couple together. But yeah, because women still be shopping. That is actually unironically right. Yeah, Hengist knows. Yeah, the reason why women were so influential, unironically, this is like a theory in like early Christianity. I don't know if it's a theory. I think it's like an established reason why they were so influential was because they would be the ones to go to market. Was because while the men would be working, they would be the ones to do like social affairs and like meet with other people. They were like the word of mouth that kind of spread Christianity initially.
A religious leader had come to that conclusion, I might be open to you. I don't think anyone theologically agrees with you. But again, maybe I haven't read the new version. I don't know if this is like the Mormon Bible or the Message or something.
It's not the new version. It's in the King James
but
Bible.
This is not
period.
Genesis, right?
What is a
Genesis.
notable? What did you say? Notable what?
Theologian?
What's a notable theologian?
Somebody that's respected typically in the field and study of like theology. They've probably got like a PhD in theology. They've probably gone to seminary. The Catholics have a system by which they kind of develop a theological kind of like seminary system. Protestants have their own system, but kind of somebody who rises through the ranks in there to study the Bible.
Those people wouldn't know God if you had lunch with them. They're intellectually separated from God. And an intellectual person cannot know God. They can know about him, they can read about him and talk about him, but they can't know him.
So pastors don't know God?
No.
Many will come to me on the final day or on the day of judgment and say, Lord, Lord, did we not preach in your name? Did we not prophesy in your name? Did we not perform great works in your name? And I will say, get away, for I never knew you. Yo!
Oh.
Have you noticed that?
I disagree. So.
Why?
I think there's a lot of really godly people in this world. I think there's a lot of good thinkers that God tries to speak through. And
really?
Yeah.
Were women created to lead or to follow?
Oh.
I think originally to be like kind of like a support character in the relationship. I think that that's like shifted over time though.
So were they created to lead or to follow?
I think I said they were probably created originally to be. I think he said complementary to Adam, right? Adam can't bear children. Men tend to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit less good at building relationships and community. So I think Eve was built to complement all of the weaknesses that man has.
Bro, dude, Eve was described as a compliment to Adam. Yeah. As in, he was like the main guy, and she was a compliment to him. Dude, how are you trying to spin that? It's like men and women are equal. It says in like a follow-on verse, or like a verse close to that, that God created Eve for Adam because Adam needed a helper. Bro, how are you unironically trying to argue that the Bible establishes equity between men and women? Just like say, I'm not really a Christian. Just say, I'm not really a Christian. That's fine. Just say that.
And so were women created to lead or to follow?
Neither.
I'm sorry?
Neither.
Neither. And is it,
Oh, well, I guess follow. Well, follow in the same way that I think Adam was built to follow, I suppose.
follow who?
God.
And the woman is supposed to follow the
God.
man.
God.
Right.
If a woman is putting man over God, that's a problem. God has to come first for every single person.
But a woman that has put God first will naturally obey and follow her husband without any contest.
I think there's a lot of good reasons for why women engage in submission with their husbands. Yeah.
Oh, don't say it like that, you harpy heathen succubus. What the? Don't whisper in my ears like that.
I think there's a lot of good reasons for why women engage in submission with their husbands. Yeah.
Get your finger away from your lips, you Jezebel. Holy shit.
Speaking of women leaders, have you noticed that ever since they put women in leadership role in our government?
Speaking about whether women are born to be leaders, and speaking about oh, dude. I mean, she's saying like, oh well, I thinking about women's relation to men and trying to compare that to the relationship with God. I mean, that's heretical. That's like wives, obey your husbands as you obey the Lord. The husband is the head of the wife, just as Christ is the head of the church people. The church is his body, and he saved it. Women should obey their husbands in everything, just as the church people obey Christ. I mean, it's pretty black and white, isn't it? Listen, it's fine. Just say you don't have too much like belief in scripture. It's fine. Take a liberal interpretation. Just take the Apostle Paul as like one thinker in Christian theology. Just say that. Just stand on it. Just like be firm about what you want to shape with your faith. But then you'd have to lose like a majority of Christianity if you want to throw out the Apostle Paul. I mean, partially why I was kind of done with Christianity, right? But yeah, just like have a liberal interpretation. Or when that gets too weak, just like become a like base Reddit atheist.
In churches, even in the home, when the father's not there to guide her how to raise the children, have you noticed that everything get worse? Because the man is the light of the family. If he's not there, the woman can't find her way in raising children or anything. Have you noticed in America and around the world, when they allow women to be in a leadership role, things only get worse?
I haven't found that to be consistently true, but I think in general, women are not taught and reared in general to be like efficient in leadership. I think in general, we teach boys how to lead in a way that we often don't teach young girls to lead. So in many ways, I think women can be weaker leaders, but there are still like good female leaders.
But men are not taught to be leaders. It's natural. It's in the DNA. It comes naturally. You have to teach a woman how to be a leader, but because she wasn't created to be a leader, it doesn't work. She tried to make herself be something she can't be. Have you noticed that?
Dude, why did she take on this fight? I don't know, okay? I don't know why she took on this debate. I don't know why she took on this conversation. She's not doing very well in it. She's not doing very well in it. And she doesn't even seem like she's having a good time. Dude, I can't imagine speaking to JLP and having like a bad time. You're walking into a conversation with a guy who you know, because everyone knows this about JLP. He cares about three things, okay? The blacks, the Great White Hope, and hating women, okay? And he uses the Bible quite strongly for two of the three of them. Dude, I will say though, actually, like setting aside how frankly racist, misogynistic, transphobic, the whole list, okay, Islamophobic, every single one, all right. Just putting aside how bigoted JLP is, one of the other things that I do like find like dislikable or like distasteful about him, if I'm being like honest, is probably the way that he talks about like theology, and is the way that he talks about the Bible, because he interlaces so much of this stuff with like a little bit of like biblical theology, a little bit of like biblical text, and then a whole shit ton of his own opinions. And he speaks as a pastor, if you guys didn't know this, okay? He is like a registered pastor with a church. He teaches, he gives sermons, right? That's like who he is before he's like a political pundit, or before he's like a podcaster or whatever. Yeah. So I do find that pretty distasteful. I do find that like pretty dislikable. But hey, listen, with JLP, like I said earlier, just gotta strap yourself in and just take you where he wants to go. All right.
You think that like Joe Biden was a good leader
Who?
as a man? Joe Biden.
The theory is she's there to convert his young male audience to groom them into different ways. Okay. I mean, maybe. Sure. Yeah, I could believe that. Sure. Like, JLP is interwoven with, like, the red pill community. Ultimately, I don't know who Erudite thinks that she's gonna, like, persuade in a conversation with JLP. Like, this guy isn't here to have a serious conversation. This guy isn't here to have, like, a real conversation. You're not gonna be able to get into this and give your spiel to be able to convince anybody, right? Or if you do, your spiels have got to be good. And you got to be prepared for where he's going to be leading you.
Biden.
Joe Biden?
Man. Yeah, was
Joe
he a good
Biden
leader?
didn't even know he was
He's a man.
president.
Well, he's a man. If they're
But he
made
didn't
to
have the
lead.
right mindset, so that's different.
Oh, okay. So we should just pick Obama then.
How about the Great White Hope?
Yes, dude, I predicted it. I predicted it. Of course. What do you mean I predicted it? What do I mean I predicted it? This is what he always talks about. If you don't know, if you've never watched JLP before, the Great White Hope is Donald Trump. That's
I
right.
don't know what that is.
You don't know the Great White Hope?
What?
Nope.
They call
What? Okay, she is dude. How does Erudite not know who JLP is? How does Erudite not know who JLP is? Dude, this has been the thing he's been banging the drum about since 2016, dude. Since Trump first got elected. How do you not know who this man is?
him king.
Are we talking about Trump? All I'm guessing is we're talking about Trump.
They say, what manner of man is this? The wind at sea obeys him. They call him daddy. Would you say and I call him the Great White Hope. Donald Trump, would you say he's a good leader?
No, I think
No?
no. Yeah, I'll say no.
No?
Let's end at no.
And why no?
I think the fact that basically none of his staff from his first term wanted to come back and work with him indicates
They were demonic. They were secret Democrats. They were rhinos. They were working with the deep state. They were worshipping the devil.
that his staff distrusted him.
Those are not mutually exclusive, by the way. Those are not mutually exclusive. That would be any of those things is what JLP will say in any organization he deigns to, okay? He's a god.
Disliked him, didn't respect him. There's something going on that made none of them willing to come back.
So Donald Trump is there now. He's been there for a minute.
Okay.
Do you think he's a good leader?
No.
And why not?
I think that he's leading the country towards greater levels of disunity.
Of what?
Of disunity.
Meaning what? What do you mean by that?
Meaning that like a divided America is a broken America.
When has America been, in the last 70 years, when has America been one, united?
Under Jimmy Carter, there was
No,
some
it
good
wasn't.
stuff. Under
Uh-uh.
Reagan,
Not true.
there was
Not
there was a lot
true.
of unity
Not
under
true.
Reagan. There was a fair bit of unity that emerged under Bush for a while. Like we don't achieve perfect
There-
unity.
That's not
for a
true. What the?
It is true. Under
What-
Bush initially, there was a lot of uniting under him. The issue is that the Iraq War became a major issue in his presidency, and he had a lot of fracturing, not just from the left, from the right as well, right? So there has been great bouts of unity, and I think it's good when the country unites.
What is Donald Trump doing? But the country has not been united in a long time. Good
I agree.
and
That's
evil
bad.
would never unite at all.
Sure, and they shouldn't. I just think that most people are a mixture of both things, and a good leader aims to pull out the good that exists
And you
in
don't
all
see
people.
Donald Trump doing that?
He's pretty antagonistic with anybody who opposes him, including his own teams, right? He
No,
wants to fire
that's
Jerome
not
Powell.
right.
Well, he wants to fire Jerome Powell, who he hired.
That guy's against Trump. He should get rid of his enemies.
Why?
Why
It's your-
would you
it's
keep
your-
your enemy in your home?
I would certainly keep them potentially. People who counter my opinion, I would absolutely keep on my business board, for example. Otherwise, your enemies and people who
Think so,
oppose you
Rachel?
are some of the most gifted at seeing your flaws.
Not true.
And pointing out areas that you need. Of course,
Not
it is true.
No.
I believe in not just talking to people of opposite viewpoints, but seeing the strengths of
Yeah.
people with the opposite view. Do you disagree that you shouldn't talk to people of different mindsets?
No, you should talk to I talk to anyone all the time, anytime. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't have if I know that they're my enemy and I'm working to make things better, ain't no way I keep my enemy in my company. That doesn't make sense. Why does that make sense to you?
I think
Why does the black guy talk like a mush-mouthed retard? Listen, he's not. I want to say, well, to be fair to him, he is like 80 years old, which he is, by the way, just FYI. But he's always spoken like this. This has always been the way that he's spoken to people.
You know, because they go on and on, right? The more you listen, the more they have to say. It's like a fire truck going by, and it starts to hurt your ear.
Well, I think you have to listen long enough to make her feel like she's been heard. But you don't have to fix the problem. You just understand she has a problem.
Right, but let's say you don't understand the problem.
But you don't
But
have
need
to
say-
understand the problem.
I mean, even if
you have to understand she has a problem.
and then finally you say, you know what? I understand you have a problem.
Basically, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Hashtag black love. This is how he's always been, dude. It's so hard not to love him. It's so hard not to love him. Oh my god.
I think if everyone who disagrees with you becomes an enemy, you're probably the common denominator.
See, that's why you can't have women as leadership. They're emotional. But let me ask,
It's emotional about that.
they can't make the right decision. You would keep your enemy in your company. And that makes sense to you.
I would keep my opposition. in
and
my
that makes
company.
sense to you to keep your enemy in your company.
I would definitely. There's an old war law that you definitely want to keep your enemy closest because you want to know what they're up to.
So
But
it
I
makes
don't think
sense
Jerome
to you
Powell.
to keep your enemy in your company.
Wait, what did she just say? An old war law?
I would definitely. There's an old war law that you definitely want.
An old war law? Isn't that Sun
To
Tzu?
keep your enemy closest because you want to know what they're up to.
So
But
it
I
makes
don't think
sense
Jerome
to you
Powell.
to keep your enemy in your company.
Well, the issue is you're framing anyone who disagrees with you as your enemy. I don't think somebody who disagrees with me is my enemy.
We're talking
They
about
actually
this
might
one
be
particular guy. Does it make
Jerome
sense
Powell,
to keep your
but
enemy
it's
in
everyone.
your company?
Well, it's
in
the
your
chief
business.
of Bureau of Labor Statistics. It seems like everyone.
You're
who
not
disagrees
answering that
with
question.
Sorry, what was your question?
This
can't.
guy is Trump's enemy.
Jerome Powell?
And knowing that he is his enemy, should
Jerome Powell? Jerome Strike? Get him out
he
there!
keep him in his administration?
Why is Jerome Powell his enemy?
Would you call him friend?
At least ally. Yeah, I think Jerome Powell loves America and wants to see it thrive. I think that his economic leadership. He's part of the.
Wait, it's just Godfather. It's just from The Godfather. Wait, it's not Sun Tzu. Okay, yeah, I'm raped. Never mind. Never mind. She thought that it was a war law. She thought that it was part of the ICC, okay? I think saying that it's Sun Tzu is slightly more accurate, right?
Major reason that we pulled out of COVID economically so strong. Jerome Powell believes in America. He's deeply
Amazing.
American. I mean, Trump picked him.
That's
right?
amazing. So
Do you
let me
think that Trump
ask.
picked wrong? Like Trump was a fool when he picked Jerome Powell?
Let me ask. Do you agree with Trump that he shut the borders down and now the illegals can't come in and he's shipping all the illegals back to wherever they came from? You agree with that?
Is there any way are you going to answer my questions, or is this only one way? If it is only one way, that's okay. I just want to know.
Do you?
Bro, has she never watched a JLP interview before? I mean, I guess not. I mean, Hengist said earlier that, what's his face? JLP in his interview with Destiny, that was like huge at the time, by the way. Huge at the time. That he mentions the Great White Hope within the first 5 minutes. So, presumably, she didn't even watch Destiny's interview with the guy.
Agree with Trump that he shut down the borders and shipping the illegals back?
I think there was an immigration crisis, and I think
Wait, okay. So, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Okay. While often attributed to Sun Tzu, it gains significant prominence from the movie The Godfather. While attributed to Sun Tzu, it gains significant prominence. So I'm guessing it is Sun Tzu, but what? The Godfather just made it popular. Okay.
the left laid in a big fat hammock and neglecting it. So immigration reform was necessary. I definitely don't agree with abandoning due process.
Do you agree with the Great White Hope that he closed the borders down and he's shipping illegals back to wherever they came from? He's out there collecting them and shipping them back. Do you agree with that?
The way that he's doing it, by violating due process, no.
Illegals
I agree
don't,
with,
illegals
illegals
don't have
being-
due process in America. How can you be a criminal in this country and have due process? That doesn't even make sense.
Do you think that if I'm
Due process is for
French-
citizens of the country.
No, if I get in America, even if I'm a non-American citizen, I still get due process, right? My family still can call the police. They'll still investigate who
I did read AI. I did read AI. Is AI not correct? Okay, so some people are saying it's Machiavelli. Wait. No! Misattributions. Sun Tzu. Machiavelli. No. Okay. So it came from the fucking Godfather. It's AI versus AI right now. I don't know who's right.
me, even if my was an American citizen, right? This is obviously true.
Are you happy with the Great White Hope that he shut the borders down and sending illegals back to their country?
I'm okay with the borders being shut down. I disagree with removing due process.
And why?
I think due process is a
Dude, Erudite her head is gonna be spinning right now. Her head is gonna be spinning. She's in a conversation with a guy. Says, "I think we should keep like due process, like an undisagreeable, inoffensive. Everyone agrees. Everyone is going to agree with you when you say that. It's just a bland statement to signal which side of the issue you're on. It's like, why? Due process? Why?
miracle of the American project. I think due process is a miracle of the American project. I think it was a rarity. It's what America led on in many ways.
What? Dude, due process is... It came from... The colonies might not have gotten it, okay? The colonies might not have gotten it. We had it, though. We had it.
America and the Western development. It's incredible. Being
When did an
assumed-
illegal alien that entered into our country illegally?
Dude, literally a subject of His Royal Highness Charles II, okay? Charles III, okay? Jesus Christ.
Breaking the law, get due process.
because that's how the law works, and I believe
That
in
doesn't
the
work
American
that way
law.
for criminals. illegals.
Yes, it does.
No, it
Criminals
doesn't.
in America also get due process, right?
No.
You get assumed.
He can
not
put them
guilty
on a
until
plane
proven
and ship
otherwise.
them back. He can pick them up at Costco today, put them on a plane today, and ship them right back where they came from, and he would be right.
I think that's a violation of the American Constitution. and I
It's
think
not a
that's bad thing to do.
violation for illegal alien. What the?
As a Canadian,
What the-
if I get
See, this
if
is why
somebody-
women shouldn't be voting. They're too emotional.
what's emotional about this?
You're not making logical decisions.
How is that not logical?
You think due process
what's bad
for
about due
illegals-
process?
You think due process for criminals in our country that came here illegally deserve,
Yes, criminals get due
under the
process.
Constitution, they deserve due process.
Well, also, no, you don't know. Erudite, the answer to this is how do you know if they are criminals if they're not given due process? That is the answer to give here. Don't see the framing. Even criminals get due process. How do you know they're criminals, retard? Also, bring up Supreme Court decision. After Supreme Court decision, the US Constitution goes wherever America goes. Even wherever the US military goes. Bro. You are next door to this country. How do you not know this?
So if I, as a Canadian national, am in America, do I get due process for justice for my?
That's not the subject that I'm asking about. I'm asking about illegal aliens that
I'm
come.
asking about
Are you
foreign-
here illegally?
Yeah, foreign, even illegal foreign.
Are you
nationals get due
here
process.
illegally?
No, I am not here illegally.
So why
I'm
would
here
you apply that to you?
Oh my god.
Because you're saying that non-citizens don't get due process, or
That's
you're
not
saying that criminals don't get due process, but both criminals and non-nationals get due process.
See, this is
And
why
you're talking
women
about
should not
people-
be running.
Well,
I agree! At this point, JLP has convinced me! Yes! How do you know they're criminals? How do you know they're criminals?
I think I'm being more logical than you right now, right?
How's
You're
that?
saying
Oh my
illegal
God.
and non-citizens. Illegal, so criminal action gets due process in America, and non-citizens get due process in America. So illegal non-citizens also, presumably, this is actually analytical philosophy, they also get due process.
So
Necessarily.
you
That's
think
the
that the
conclusion.
Constitution applies to people who break into our country illegally?
No, how are you misunderstanding the drool-laden words that have come out of this big fat bull head? Obviously, what he's talking about is people who are in America illegally. They do not have citizenship. That is what he's arguing. They don't deserve due process. Not any non-citizen, you
Typically, yeah. For certain, not all of the Constitution applies to them, but things like due process does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Okay, see? Let me ask. I've said to, and I know a whole bunch of guys around the world who have married and they wanted a family. So a lot of them end up marrying women who are educated. And I suggest to them they should not marry an educated woman because she doesn't make for a good wife and a mother. And every time, it never fails. Every time they marry an educated woman, the marriage go to hell in a handbasket. Do you agree with me that a man should not marry an educated woman because she doesn't make for a good wife and mother?
I think educated marriages last longer and have healthier children on average.
No,
So, no.
not at all. That's not true.
That's just what the data shows.
That's not true. Every man that, if he stayed with her, he become a beta man. She make him the woman, and she go out and bring home the bacon.
Well, I would
Keep
say that that's a
sipping, bitch.
failing
You know
on
he's
both
right.
of those partners, right? As a woman, you shouldn't be demasculating your partner. And as a man, you also should not be allowing your wife to demasculate you. So if a demasculation's happening, I think that that's
But a
bad.
woman that's been educated, she thinks she's equal to a man and that she's compete with him. She think that she would rather go to work and get her ego strokes rather than stay at home and raise her children. And if she married a beta man, he'll stay home and he become the wife and she become the husband.
I don't know what to tell you. The evidence shows when you look at agriculture.
Nothing. She's got nothing to say.
I thought Patriot Act said fuck due process. I thought
Well, maybe the okay who got drone striked. Maybe their drone strike bits and pieces can collect in a bucket and they can send it to the Supreme Court. Okay, Until then, it's the law of the land. Due process for everyone, except under the Patriot Act. Dude, I'm so surprised. The amount that Americans cry about the Patriot Act, that it's like never been successfully challenged, that it's like never been overturned.
Look at just like polls of demographics. Women that achieve higher levels of education have longer lasting marriages, and their children
they don't.
are typically. Yep, they do.
Women were
You can
educated
just Google
divorce
this.
way quicker than non-women with no education. But let me ask
In
this
general,
because of time.
people impoverished tend to often be a little bit more impulsive. Their relationships fail at a significantly higher rate. They also have a much lower marriage rate. People who are less educated typically don't get married, are having children out of wedlock, and therefore can't even qualify in the marriage statistics because they were never married in the first place. They just have like multiple children with different men. That's typically what we're seeing with like the lesser educated. And now again, there's
That's not
systems why
true.
all this is happening.
That's
but
so
educated
not, where are you
women,
making up all this stuff?
you can just Google it.
Oh, why are you making this up?
You can just Google it.
Google it. What the?
Yeah, just look it up. Yeah, go look at the stats.
So let me ask, because of time,
Dude, Angus, Yanks love getting you. Yanks love getting you. Aren't you a unionist? Aren't you a Scottish unionist? Okay.
what is it? What has Donald Trump done or doing that you think is amazing?
I think his child tax credit was really good.
I mean, kind of. It is very, very hard, to be fair, to actually like win a debate against JLP. Even Destiny, whatever you might think of him, okay? He is a very good debater. And even he kind of like, it was funny, it was entertaining. JLP didn't really get any rhetorical wins. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like a draw. Because you can't really debate against JLP. You can try and throw some punches. He's just like jelly. It's trying to fight with jelly. You will be subsumed. You will be like, I don't know, suffocated.
I loved the child tax credit. I think in general, making it more affordable to have children, very good thing to do.
Are you going to have children?
Yeah.
Do you support abortion?
I support the legal access to abortion. It's probably the wrong thing to do on average. It's probably more noble to not, but I think the societal impacts of not allowing abortions is horrific.
So you do support abortion?
Legally.
I didn't ask if you support it legally, that means you support it.
Nope.
Bro, what a weird position to take. Maybe she is a Christian then. I don't know. You believe in the legal right to an abortion, while you believe that it's like morally wrong. You believe that it's morally wrong to have an abortion, but you want people to have that right because of the outcomes. Okay. I know that people put this argument forward. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with the argument, right? Not having access to abortions does lead to worse outcomes for women's health. But at the end of the day, like, I've never met anybody who actually holds this opinion.
What's the difference?
My faith is not the same thing as my politics.
So your faith tell you could support killing a child in the womb legally, but if a woman decides to go in the alleyway and kill the child, you don't support that.
Well, I would say that when she does it legally, it's probably the worst choice, and it would be more good to keep it, but I would like her to have the legal access to make that choice.
So
She's definitely had at least 3 abortions, at least 2. Where do you think the breast implants came from?
support the woman, the man's baby in the womb legally, right?
And her baby,
right?
to be fair.
It's not
The
her
man's
baby,
baby and
it's
her
his
baby.
baby.
Well, it's both. She's carrying it. It's probably her genes, hopefully.
So you support the woman, the baby legally, but not doing it in the alleyway or illegally.
I'm sorry. What are your illegal abortions?
You
to?
said you support the law as it's legal. You okay with her the baby in the womb?
Yes, I support women's access to abortion.
So you do support abortion then?
No, I think it's typically the worst choice, but overall, I think it's a choice that women should have access to.
That's amazing. Did you know that 70% of divorces?
Yeah, I feel a similar-ish way. I support the right to it, but feels wrong to me. I wouldn't do it, but my feelings shouldn't supersede somebody else's. I mean, yeah, that is usually the take you hear from people who object to it on moral grounds, but want to see it legalized. It's probably because They don't want their personal feelings to intercede on somebody else's liberty, right? Or somebody else's right to choose. The idea that it's purely because it would be worse for society to not allow abortions. It's just bizarre. I've never met anyone like this.
Of being followed by women.
Sorry. I think he just hit a banger. You can tell through where GLP actually bangs. He looks down at the notes, and then he looks back up with a little look, and you know he's just gonna banger.
That's amazing. Did you know that 70% of divorces are being filed by women?
Now we like stats, hey?
And so,
We like to pick and choose when we like stats, don't we?
but
That's not good. Not good.
But so, how more marriage are working better with educated women is 70% of them are filing for abortion. For divorce.
First of all, typically,
Dude, I was so confused then. I was like, I don't know what stat is bringing up. 70% of abortions are filed by women. I would have thought that was 100%. Oh, divorces, right? Divorces. Okay.
the uneducated women are not getting married. They tend to common law for a long time and then separate, so they're not getting included in the stats.
We're talking about the ones that are getting married.
Yeah, obviously.
Right. Well, you're talking about educated versus uneducated. And I'm saying one of the issues in the uneducated category is they're getting married less often than common law.
No, Kyla. I understand where you've gone wrong. He hates all women, okay? He hates all women. The less educated ones, just slightly less uppity, all right?
But we're talking about the ones that are getting married and divorcing.
Yep. And so I think it's not just educated women. I think women overall initiate divorce.
But this
more often than men do.
this report
That's what he
says
said.
70% of divorces are being filed by women.
If you don't trust my stats, how am I supposed to trust yours?
Do you
You
trust
just
that?
agreed that it was likely correct.
I don't know. Where's your source from?
The sources?
Because you didn't trust mine. So it's going to be tough to, if you get to use stats and I take it for granted, but when I use stats, you just say, that's made up. Now we're at an impasse.
But you
'cause now
just
essentially
throwing out
you get to
stuff.
use something I don't.
You're just
You
saying
just
stuff
agreed
that you
to
don't
it.
even know what you're talking about.
You could just be saying, you could have just typed up stuff on
Where did this come from,
ChatGPT.
Daniel?
It could have just made something up. I'm willing to grant it. The issue is I'm looking for you to grant me stats in return, right?
Okay, I'll let you
Amazing.
have some.
Okay.
Do you believe racism exists?
He just moves on.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
And what's your proof?
I think, for
You want to
example,
talk about sources,
black men tend
bitch?
to
You want to talk about sources? Do you believe in racism? Source? Source? Dude.
go to jail for longer for the same crimes that white men will get reduced sentences for, is a good example.
And why is that?
I would say prejudice. It's very odd to say if you are black. Again, we can hold it if you want stats, since you said you'll grant me stats.
Yeah.
When we look at actually forensic recidivism data, even when you hold, for example, number of priors between white men and black men the same, black men on average still get sentenced to a significantly longer time. In the same way that if you hold the men's statistics consistent with priors to a woman's, even if a woman has 14, reference to the Ukrainian, 14 priors, and the man has 14 priors, she'll get a much lesser sentence typically. I just think that there's prejudice in the way that we stereotype people.
So do you think that if the black man that committed the crime was pay a lawyer to represent him, maybe he wouldn't go to jail as much as he does by getting a free lawyer from the courts? Whereas white men
Possibly.
tend to pay for their lawyers, so they're going to get the best lawyer. When they have to go to court, ask for a free lawyer, that lawyer is, busy with so many cases, he doesn't really have time to be trying to figure it out. If white men...
Dude, that is that is actually a decent retort. People don't bring that up, but yeah. It's hard to distinguish whether the judicial system is biased or whether it's actually just like downstream of economic inequality. Dude, how the does JLP know this? How the fuck does JLP know this argument, dude?
If black men were able to pay for
Amazing.
their own lawyers in the way that white men are able to do you think it would be even play then?
I suspect no.
Why?
I'm pretty sure that data's already looked into this, that even when you look at economic status, so essentially people's economic access to
Okay, I'll admit Kyla might have me done here. She might actually have an argument with this.
better lawyers, even then, the black men will get sentenced longer
That's not
specifically. So
true.
they often will get off of it about the same rate because they have a similar quality lawyer, but the judge gets to decide the length, right? And oftentimes judges will just opt for longer, more steeper sentences for black men than for white men.
Not true. When black men pay for their own lawyers, that lawyer's on their case in the same way a white man, when he pays for his lawyer, they're going to get the same thing most of the time.
I'm not sure if that's true.
No, it is true.
I don't know if I believe you.
But do you
just
have
be
any
making that
proof
up.
that racism exists?
She's waffling. JLP is right. I mean, she doesn't seem confident about that stat. So I think they've looked into this. Okay, interesting.
I just gave you one. Yeah.
No, that's not proof.
Well, we just talked about how it is, and I'm not granting you making up facts either, right? So we're at an impasse.
Amazing. Do you have any other proof that racism exists?
Yeah, sure. I think an important question to you, for example, why is it the case that black men typically can't afford a more expensive lawyer when a white man can?
Because they believe the lie
They're lazy.
that they can't make it because they're black. And they think white people are superior to them, so they're begging, blaming, and trying to get something free rather than earning their own way.
Do you think that black people just try less hard?
What?
Do you think black people just try less hard than white people to make money?
No, they need to get out and just do it. They don't need to try any harder or less, but just do it.
So black people just don't like go to jobs or like try to make money.
Some do, most don't. Because they've heard that they can get it free. All they have to do is cry racism and they can get it free. Do you love white people?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't hear you.
Yeah. Yes. I
He's
like
gonna
white
be
people.
trolling,
You
man.
love white people?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
He was not expecting that answer. He was not expecting that answer. He was not expecting that fucking answer.
You are a Christian, right?
I've got to replay that. I've got to replay that.
They've heard that they can get it free. All they have to do is cry racism and they can get it free. Do you love white people?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't hear you.
Yeah. Yes. I like white people.
You love white people?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. You are a Christian, right?
I mean, speaking about black people who aren't even doing their job, dude, this guy's fucking ears are resigned, dude. This guy's ears have got like every other minute off. That's the way he's fucking negotiating with them, bro.
Yeah.
God said that our battle is not physical, it's spiritual. That we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spirits and wickedness in high places, evil. Why do you call it racism rather than calling it good or evil? Why do you call it what the world call it rather than calling it what God's called it?
Mostly for specificity. I think if we called just everything that's bad evil and everything that's good good, and those were the only words we had, we'd never know what we're talking about.
Why is that?
Then
You
I just
never-
have to be like, well, black people have bad things happen to them. And you'd be like, what kind of bad things? And I'd be like, the baddest of bad things, right? Just for specificity. I think racism is immoral, obviously, but I call it racism for specificity.
Well, why don't you call it what God called it rather than calling it something else? Are you saying that God didn't know what he was doing when he called it good versus evil?
No, I these are not separate things, right? Something can be good and evil and also something else, right?
No, or evil is not nothing else.
Do you think there's good or evil?
You're not answering the question. Why do you call it something other than what God calls it?
I'm answering your question with a question back to kind of elucidate my point. Because I did answer it. I just don't think maybe you're understanding me.
I said that God does not call it racism. He called it good versus evil. And as a daughter of God, why don't you call it what your father called it? Why do you call it?
This is the problem. This is the problem. He's gone into this conversation under a false assumption, okay? She's not a daughter of God. She's not a daughter of God, not at all.
But what the children of Satan calls it.
For the same reason that I call instead of just evil, for specificity.
Really?
Yeah. So we know what we're talking about.
So
right?
is done due to racism or evil?
Sometimes evil, and then sometimes it's for racism, sometimes it's for greed, and sometimes it's for vengeance. There's all sorts of evils that contribute to.
But it's always evil that's influencing it, right?
Sure, yeah, I agree that racism's evil, though. I've already said that.
But how can it be evil when it doesn't exist? It's just a word made up by evil people.
I guess you and I disagree about whether it exists or not. So
But
if
it
you don't
doesn't.
think it exists, then it doesn't matter. And if I think it exists, I would label it evil.
Do you have white privilege?
I'm sure people would say that I do, yeah.
What do you say?
Probably in some areas. There's definitely some things where if I show up next to my husband, my husband's a quarter Nigerian, it smooths
You
things
married
out.
to a black man?
I am, yeah.
You married to, well, no wonder.
That's how you know I'm so cool, right?
That's not what he means, Erudite. He's a racist.
Like, hang.
Well, that
Sorry?
explains it all.
Sorry?
That makes sense now why you think the way you think.
Does it?
Yeah. But
So am I being
listen.
submissive to the wrong type of man? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. I didn't know you were married to a black man, but it makes sense now that you would think that way.
Dude. Yeah, Wicked Sevens. I can't say that. I can't say that on YouTube, but yeah, that's exactly what he's about to call her. She about to pay the toll. She about to pay the toll. I'm so glad Babka's not here right now. What am I doing, man?
He's conservative.
No, it makes sense that you would think.
What? Nick is conservative? What? That's news to me if he is. Nick is a conservative. Huh? Nick's a conservative. Bro. Dude. He's got his wife's Discord and his wife's fucking website listed in his YouTube bio. He's a conservative. He's a conservative. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. This guy lets his wife run around necking off with other men. And he's a conservative. Somehow I don't think so. Somehow I doubt that.
Think that way.
But he's conservative.
But it makes sense that I'm talking about you. I didn't say him. I don't know anything about him, so I haven't spoken to him, so I don't know him.
But if I'm submissive to my husband and I like.
Dude, and the best thing about this, the best thing, is that Nick saw this entire interview, presumably, and left a comment under it saying, glad Jesse's still around. Glad Jesse's still around. After Jesse has just got done blaming it all of Erudite's perceived personality flaws on having a husband who's a quarter Nigerian. It's so wretched, man.
Take a lot of like leadership and opinion from him, and he's conservative. Why would it? I guess what does it mean when you say it makes sense the way I think, right?
Because you married to a black man.
What does that mean?
That's why you think the way you think and you believe racism is and all that mess. But that's fine. I'm not.
That's probably
I'm okay
not
with
why,
it.
to be
but
fair.
It makes sense
He probably
now.
disagrees on the extent to which I would say it exists, right?
Oh, okay.
He's conservative. He's conservative. Like you.
So listen,
He can't be that conservative. He's not got you in line, Erudite. What the f*** are you talking about? Oh, he's conservative. Oh, he probably disagree with everything I'm saying right now. What? What? He can't be that conservative then. Bang!
I got to put you on the hot seat. I need you to answer these questions as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Oh, let me ask, do you have anger?
I think I already said we talked about this. Yes.
You do have anger.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
We all have anger.
What would happen if you dropped your anger and never got angry again about anything?
I would be better in most ways and probably ungodly in some ways.
Oh, you would be ungodly in some way without anger?
Well, we talked about this, right? Like Christ, Jesus himself had righteous
Oh,
anger.
yeah, you said that. You're right. So listen, I got to put you on the hot seat.
Okay.
I need you to answer these as quickly as possible.
The hot seat.
What is love?
Ooh. Giving people things that you don't want to give them, they don't want to receive, and accepting it anyways.
Hear me out. Rape. What was that answer, man? What was that answer?
Giving people things that you don't want to give them, they don't want to receive, and accepting it anyways.
Erudite argues in favor of marital rape? Whoa! Erudite argues in favor of marital rape? Maybe Nick is a conservative after all.
Is America the best country on this side of heaven?
Yes.
Do we need more white babies?
Yeah, sure.
What is a man?
A XY chromosome having hair, breast lacking, bearded human being who probably sits with his legs spread and likes prototypically sports, but not always.
Bro, Erudite given a chromosome definition of gender. Meanwhile, what? Calling out the UK earlier for having transphobic feminists. Yeah, good one. Good one.
You're a man.
Did you take the jab?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was a first responder. I worked in addiction, so.
True or false? When she's crying, she's lying. True or false?
False.
I'm sorry?
Huh?
False.
Do you keep
Listen, okay, Erudite's pick me feminism has got some extents, okay? It's got some restraints on it.
hot sauce in your...
What's your definition of love, Dickers? It's a hard question to be fair, but goddamn, she come with a weird response. A definition of love. A definition of love. A definition of love. A definition of love. It would probably be... I don't know. I would have to think about that. Because it's really, really hard to find like a non-exclusive definition of love. So I'd say like love is when you experience like I guess like what? Like heightened responsibility towards other people, heightened obligations towards other people. But you enjoy fulfilling that obligation, or you kind of consent or assent to fulfilling those obligations. But realistically, that would cover like friendships. In a friendship, don't you accept certain obligations towards somebody else, and you do it even if you didn't really want to? Yeah, I don't know. Oh, my definition is how Dickers makes me feel. Oh, Johnny.
in your purse?
In my purse? No.
Which would you rather?
I guess, realistically, love would probably be, what? To put somebody else's interests above your own. Consistently. Right? Probably. But then there's always the problem you run into where, like, most definitions of love are going to have some kind of, like, unconditional factor, right? It's going to be like an unconditional kind of fixation or an unconditional agreement between two people. When realistically, no love is actually unconditional, right? Like, there does not exist a thing such as unconditional love.
Have as president Justin Trudeau or Donald Trump?
Ooh, you don't like me, do you?
I love you. I love you.
I don't know.
No, I
Neither. I don't like either.
What? Erudite can't pick between Justin Trudeau and Donald Trump. Isn't she supposed to be a liberal?
Ooh, you don't like
Which would you rather have as president? Justin Trudeau or Donald Trump?
Ooh, you don't like me, do you?
I love
What? I thought that Trump was like destroying democracy. I thought that Trump was like leading people around a really bad path. I thought Trump was denying people right to a fair trial or due process. Huh?
you. I love you.
I don't know.
No, I
Neither. I don't like either.
So, which would you prefer if you had to make a choice?
Oh, they're both so corrupt.
Wait, is Justin Trudeau like giga corrupt on par with like Donald Trump? Really? Dude, Trump has like since he joined office, his like his net worth has increased by billions of dollars. What has Justin Trudeau increased to?
Gun to my head, probably Trudeau.
Amazing.
Amazing.
You wanna
but again,
rethink
that's
that?
gun to my head, okay? I'm not opting for either.
Right on.
I might take the bullet.
At Dickers. Oh, wait, Nate, you said you'd taken like 5 years to come up with a good definition. The involuntary inclusion of a person as yourself, such that your interests will naturally be subjugated to another's interests as if it were your own. This will be through positive and negative emotions. I mean, that would just describe any significantly close relationship, though, I think, right? I think. Like having a friendship, right? Having a friend. Maybe that would be, like, love as well. Maybe that would be love, but in, like, a non-romantic sense. Yeah, that's probably a decent definition, actually.
Take the bullet.
Is it ever okay?
But then, against your will, again, that runs into the problem of, like, unconditional love. So that would also encapsulate, like, friendships, right? And relationships you have there. But it would also be, that would also include, like, it would also insist upon, like, an unconditional love, right? It's against your will, insofar as you couldn't deny it, right? You couldn't reject it, but, I don't know.
Okay to call a woman fat?
Yeah, it depends on, like, how you're doing it, but yeah.
Which is worse, abortion or slavery?
Slavery.
Is the earth flat or round?
It's round.
Did you have fun?
I did. Thank you so much for having me.
It was an honor to have you. I enjoyed talking to you, really.
Thank you. Good.
And-
I enjoyed talking to you.
Tell the people how they can get your YouTube channel, your whatever you want to put out there.
Sure. I'm Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. NotSoErudite. That's spelled ERUDITE. You can check me out. I've got nuanced liberal takes with a little bit of radicalism wherever you need it.
Amazing.
Radicalism. Okay. Also, I don't know. I don't know if this is just me, alright? I don't know if this is just me. I always get like my brain just like, huh? Like every time I hear like erudite, like pronounce her name like that. Erudite. Pronunciation. It's erudite. No, it's erudite.
We are looking at how to pronounce this word, as well as how to say more interesting and related words in English, so make sure to stay tuned and consider subscribing. This means having or showing great knowledge, or learning. How do you go about pronouncing it? Erudite. Pretty straightforward.
Erudite. Yeah, erudite. Erudite. Huh?
Well, thanks for coming on. And thank you all for tuning in. I absolutely appreciate it. Don't forget to like, follow, ring the bell. Support us by becoming members of the FartherState.tv right there on the YouTube channel or locals.com, JessLeePeterson.locals.com. And check out my coffee. I have the best coffee on this side of heaven. Good. So check
Dude.
it out on JessieLeePeterson.shop. Ring the bell, do all that stuff. If you'd like to see someone else on the show, contact my producer at thefallenstate.
Dude, he's really not happy. Really not happy with Erudite's performance. Immediately. So, listen, okay, if you want anyone else on the channel, if you want anyone else on the show, alright, just anyone. We'll take anyone at this point. Holy shit. And bind some for that shill? Yeah. Well, you know. The problem about Jesse Lee Peterson is he's a genuinely, like, I don't know, affable guy in, like, the strangest way. The strangest way.
No one cares about the white people.